If I could call the Board of Commissioners meeting to order for Tuesday, July 25th, 2017. And I'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good and gracious God, please be with us this evening while we deliberate. Please watch over your servants over the world and bless this meeting to your ideas. Amen. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Leitner?
Here.
Commissioner Walls?
Here.
Commissioner Rice?
Here.
Commissioner Duckham? Here. Commissioner Tompkins?
Here.
Commissioner Mahoney? Commissioner Palachek?
Here.
Commissioner Elwell?
Here.
Chairman Shotwell?
Here.
8 present.
Thank you. We have no awards and recognition. Is there any communication or petitions to come before the board? If there are, please present them to the clerk.
Is that public comment, or that's different?
No, ma'am, it's, if you have a sign, yeah. Yep. Okay, I'll get it. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Any items for addition? Under new business, I would like to add Resolution 0717.22. Any other items? Seeing nor hearing none, all in favor of the agenda as amended? Those opposed? Duly carried. We have no special orders nor public hearings this evening. We've arrived at the first opportunity for public comment. Each individual will state their name. You have 3 minutes to address the board. You may only address the board once under this public comment opportunity and may not yield your time to others. Board members will not debate nor answer questions at this time. Public comments open.
Hello, I'm Brenda LaChapelle. I'm a volunteer for the Jackson County Animal Shelter, and I wanted to bring it to the attention of the commission, the animal shelter millage. I've got some questions. We all have some questions. Will be available afterwards for discussion if possible. When is the millage? Who's responsible for writing the millage? When does it go to the ballot? And who is ultimately responsible and accountable for this process being completed? Second thing that I'd like to bring to the attention of the board is public safety in reference to animal control officers. Animal control officers were available to Jackson County. Originally, we had 4. Last in 2014, we were down to 2, and now it's 2017 and we have 0. Now this is in the responsibility of the sheriff's office or the police department, which is not properly trained. And what we are looking for the board to understand and possibly approve is the training, the proper training of the police force. There is a professional animal trainer available to the police force that was or is employed by the shelter, who's certified, willing to train the Jackson police staff in reference to proper animal handling, and that's not yet been approved. So we're looking to understand that process. This has been presented to the director many times, but I'm not certain that it's been presented to the Board of Commissions. So we're looking to understand that. Also, in reference to public safety, is the volunteer program that we are trying to develop at the shelter and getting proper staffing for a volunteer program so that volunteers can be properly trained, they can be safe, and they can be effective. Currently, the animal control staff and the volunteers have not received proper, effective training on handling all animals that are at the animal shelter. And then, like I said, all of us volunteers that are present today will be available after the meeting to perhaps discuss or converse on any of these issues. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jim Dunn. I'm a Summit Township Supervisor, and I'm here to call your attention to your item 13, Standing Committee Affairs and Agencies item item B, which is the Horton Park Road intersection realignment agreement. I just wanted to point out to you that this intersection, which you're probably all reasonably familiar with, needs to be dealt with in the context of a trail project that both Summit Township and the City of Jackson have underway. It's coming to you, I recognize, at the 11th hour, and that is unfortunate, but at this point, we're looking at the need to, I guess I should say the trail project has precipitated the need to look at this intersection. There are other reasons for the project besides the trail, but this is certainly a part of, or what I would refer to as the last piece of the puzzle to put together so that the trails of the city and the township can align and align safely. So I simply would call your attention to that, ask for your support of that project so that we can proceed and get the intersection redesigned and rebuilt and be safe for pedestrians and traffic as well.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Carter, and I'm Regional Manager with the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission. And I have a group of counties in the state that I'm responsible for serving as a liaison between the counties and the state of Michigan and the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission. And Jackson is one of the counties that I have in my region. So I just came to introduce myself. I've had the opportunity to meet Mr. Overton and the court administration here. So I look forward to working with the county. Thank you.
Peter Bormuth. I wanted to compliment the Jackson County Department of Transportation on the resurfacing of Jefferson Road from the west of 127 all the way to Jackson Road. It is beautiful. Everybody out there appreciates it greatly.
Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Public comment is now closed. Special meetings of standing committees, we have none this evening. Entertain the motion for the minutes of the June 20th, 2017 meeting. We have a motion and support. Do we have any questions or comments? Seeing nor hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same sign. Duly carried. We've arrived at the consent agenda. We have a motion and support on the consent agenda. Any items for removal? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, could you post the vote?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Zero. Yeah. Consent agenda passes 8-0. We now arrived at the standing committees report. County Affairs and Agencies chaired by Commissioner David Elwell. Commissioner Elwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have just a couple items of business tonight. One is appointments. We still have open seats on the Department on Aging Advisory Council with no applicants, and 2 alternates on the Sanitary Code Board of Appeals. No applicants for either of those. We have the Region 2 Area Agency on Aging. We have Megan Kaiser was the applicant and the recommendation from committee.
Any nominations from the floor?
Mr. Chairman, I would nominate Sean Christie, who turned in her paperwork a couple days late.
We have a motion and support. Any other nominations from the floor? Madam Clerk, we have two candidates. Would you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Leitner?
Kaiser.
Commissioner Walls? Commissioner Rice? Commissioner Duckham? Commissioner Tompkins? Commissioner Placzek? Commissioner Elwell? Chairman Shotwell?
Kaiser.
5 Kaiser, 3 Christie.
5-3. Kaiser's been appointed. She'll be duly contacted by the board. Commissioner Elwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next up, we have the J.C. Dot proposal for the Horton Road, Park Road intersection realignment agreement. I don't support this, but to follow parliamentary procedure, I'll make the motion to approve it so we can debate it, and I'll give my reasons for not supporting it.
We have a motion and support. Commissioner Elwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've thought about this heavily, and I appreciate the answers to a number of questions I sent to Mike Overton and Chris Bolt, and he sent back, Mike, I think, sent them on to everybody. My biggest issues with this were the timing of it, how it was rushed at the end. We knew nothing of it until it came before us at standing committee. A second issue was, me personally, I don't think it's what the public envisioned when we approved the bonding. This is a project that wasn't on our radar at the time, and is a significant amount of money. The biggest thing for me when I looked at the map, the first map that we had was not the clearest map in the world. Chris was good enough to give us a couple other renditions of it. And the one that's in the packet is this one that has the red line down it. And when I first saw the map of the project, I looked at it trying to figure out where the county line was that divided the city from the county. And this latest map that Chris gave us shows us that. And therein lies the biggest problem for me, in that the greatest part of this work is way outside of Park Road. And one of the original maps had some language on there, substantial language about maintenance agreements, and how Park Road is a road that the county maintains, kind of a reciprocal agreement, I think you could probably call it. And the city maintains other roads that are border roads, and we receive Act 51 money for this. They receive Act 51 money for others. And when I looked at this, though, at least one of the intersections is work that's on Horton Road, which has to be the most significant part of the work. There's another intersection that goes into the Sharp Park Academy. I think it would be the west lot, it looks like. That looks like we'd be paying for that. And I was puzzled by the cost division that we were given. I don't have it here in front of me, but I think it's $95,000 and $230 or something, us paying the larger portion of it. And I just think that's inappropriate. I think it would have been better if we had been in earlier on the conversation about that part of it, but was brought to us with a division of that done already. Some of the other things I can overlook, I think, or get over, really. But the cost division of it just is totally reversed, in my opinion. Even if it was a proposal that we were paying half of, I'd give it more consideration. Somebody, I think Commissioner Rice, had asked for crash data, and that was provided to us. I think Mike forwarded it to date all the commissioners, and it was, I think, the intersections with the most crashes over the last 5 years, I think, is what we were given. And this is on page 13 of I forget how many pages. And it's way, 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 way down the list of the worst intersections we have in this county. And it'd be different in my mind if it was something we had planned for. I understand it's in relation to the trail, and I'd like to help in that regard while they're doing that. And I have had good conversations with Supervisor Dunn, although he's Chair Shotwell's supervisor. I'd like to be helpful on it, but just for me, the money aspect of it is backwards. If anything, it should be a 50-50 split. Realistically, all you have to do is look at the colored map with a line, and you see almost all the work is on the city side of it, and the intersection with the most work is on Horton Road, not a road that we have an agreement with them on. Lastly, I'll say that I looked at the list that Chris put together and Mike forwarded, it's in the packet of 7 or 8 pages. It says borderline street maintenance agreement. And I don't think the recommendation is based totally on this, because this is just a maintenance agreement. I assume filling potholes, plowing snow, those type things. But that's what is used to give us our Act 51 money, if that's accurate, Mike, if you, okay. So when I looked at that, I looked at the column that has miles, and I totaled up each of those columns. And by my math, we're doing about 6.5 miles, and the city's doing about 4.5 or 4.2. And this was referenced that it was done by the last Jackson County Road Commission, I think back in 2002. Yeah, it's dated December of 2002. That doesn't seem appropriate to me. I think separate from this issue, we should be looking at this to make sure it's current and reflects what we're supportive of. But mainly for the financial aspect of it, I'll be voting no, even though I made the motion to forward it on for debate. Thank you.
Commissioner Duckham.
I take a different view on this than Commissioner Elwell. This was rushed along for several reasons and brought on for several reasons. It's time for the city to help make our recreational trails county-wide, and they're running the trails out through there, which are partly covered by our Act 51 money, I understand. And it's time for them to run their trails out there, and it come to their attention that, or the Road Commission's attention, that it would be much safer to reconstruct this as we do the trail system. Basically, it's probably cheaper to do them both at once. And also, one of the reasons to do this now is to get this done before school starts. There's a school right on the corner there, and the bus is coming and going. I don't even know if they could pull out of the school parking lot and go in a different direction, actually, with the length of the bus, and if the intersection's tore up, that's what they would have to do. This small percentage of payment that may be a little bit lopsided in the city's favor, it wouldn't even register on a Richter scale compared to the $30 million of our bond that we have to work with. And as far as traffic accident data, I would call this a priceless prevention. If we save one life out there, it would be worth way more than the cost of doing this intersection. These intersections are old and misaligned. They were designed probably for Model Ts and 1940 Fords. With the cars we have nowadays, we need to be safe. They're lower. The windows sometimes aren't as convenient to look out of as the old cars were because of the roof lines. So I'll be supporting this just for the betterment of the community. We're all Jackson County residents, and I don't wish to draw a line between city and county. We're all Jackson County residents, and I think every day of the year somebody's going to benefit from this more convenient intersection many times over. So I'll be supporting it.
Commissioner Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As my fellow commissioners know, and the administration does as well, I sent out some emails in regards to this. I just want to make a comment that hopefully moving forward, that one of the concerns I have, and there's some of us commissioners that certainly like to do our homework and like to do our research, especially when it involves taxpayer dollars. And unfortunately, we were not given much time to look into this. So I would just like to make it known that hopefully in the future that we have a better opportunity to be given more time to do just what I mentioned. And aside from that, I also read through all the material, and it made a comment about it was imperative that we do this because of the traffic accidents. And certainly, since we do have a path there, that changes the whole dynamics. A non-motorized path. So certainly I can understand why an intersection like that, and obviously the speed of the traffic down through there is quite fast. So I can understand that. But like Commissioner Elwell said, I also understand that I'm only an educated guess, as there's probably 20 other intersections that have a worse accident history, which, I guess those would too be imperative from the perspective of the information that we received. So, and I don't think this was part of the $30 million bond that we had out there. I don't think this was the intention of the capital improvement plan that we received, nor do I think this was an intention of the maintenance maps and the projects that we were given. As far as the maps were concerned, I didn't notice that this was on there. So, even though this has been out there for a while. So again, I'd like to see those kinds of things tidied up. One thing I will say is I did get with the executive planner, I should say. He also was a former transportation person. I won't mention the person's name, but we did go out there and do a site review, which is part of the research. And quite frankly, looking at the map and everything else, his expertise and what I had to see, I can certainly see why this needs to be realigned for this path. It's the best option to realign it. I don't really like too much on how it all went down, but I can see the merit of doing this because the path is going to go through there, and if it's going to go through there, it should be the safest way. So that finally made me decide that I will support this, and I would just like to hopefully see some things done differently in the future, so we commissioners can have more opportunity to take a look at these type of things and even consider Act 51 money, which was mentioned late in the game as well. So, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Any other commissioner comments? Clerk, could you post the vote, please?
Mr. Chair?
I'm a yes.
Correct.
Motion carried 7-1. Commissioner Elwell.
That's all I have to report, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Standing Committee Human Services, chaired by Commissioner Carl Rice. Commissioner Rice?
Mr. Chairman, Human Services has no business to come before the board tonight.
Thank you. Standing Committee Personnel and Finance, chaired by Vice Chairman Phil Duckham. Mr. Duckham?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have no business to conduct tonight. Thank you.
We have no unfinished business to come before the board. New business. First item, J.C. Coates Road Contract Resolution.
Good evening, Commissioners. We are presenting a resolution as a formality. It was something that simply was overlooked in the initial approval that I think you made this approval at study session this month for us to keep things moving along. So MDOT's moving forward in good faith, but they need this resolution as a follow-up.
Any questions? Madam Clerk, could you post the vote?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Passed 8-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second item under new business is Resolution 0717.22. We have a motion and support.
Could you read it since it was added to the agenda?
At this time, I will not be. Could you post the vote? Okay.
Commissioner Lang.
Yes,
8-0.
thank you.
You're welcome.
We have arrived at item 18, public comment. You have 2 minutes to address the board, and the same rules apply from before.
Peter Bournemouth. As some of you know, there's an issue of the development of pig farms, industrial, commercial pig farms in Jackson County. There's been a new processing plant that's being built in Coldwater. I think it's going to open sometime in September. The state has invested some money in this, so you know that they support it. I think this is a very dangerous thing for Jackson County. It is not the type of economic development that we want. It creates certain hazards. For residential owners, it creates the problem of odor. For our groundwater and surface water, it creates the problem of runoff and possible contamination, ammonia, nitrogen, phosphorus. And the problem is, it also creates a problem for this county because we want people moving into our county. We want people to continue to build subdivisions in our townships, in our outlying areas. We want increased population. This will drive people away from Jackson County. And I realize that this is a township board issue, but you should look and see at some of the problems that states are having with these type of facilities. North Carolina is a good example. There are other states that have had these type of facilities in the past. And I just hope that you're all aware of it, that you all liaison with the township supervisors in your particular districts. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Public comment at this time is closed. Entertain a motion in accordance with MCL 15.268 to go into closed session on a personnel matter that will be discussed per the request of the employee.
Support.
Motion and support. Madam Clerk, can you post it? Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Session.
Support.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Duckham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Based on Administrator Overton's annual review, I would recommend a 2% compensation increase. Do I have a motion to support that?
I have a motion and support. Any questions to the motion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk? Your choice.
No.
Yes. Oh. Thank you. Motion carried 7-1. Commissioner Duckham, anything else?
All for tonight, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Leitner?
I just want to remind everybody, we have the fair coming up. August 6th is when it starts. It's on a Sunday. We have lots of awesome entertainment. We have a comedy show opening the fair. We have the Impractical Jokers on Sunday. On Monday, we're going to have Stone Sour, Alter Bridge, and Skillet. It's a rock band, a bunch of rock bands. On Monday, Tuesday, we're going to have Flo Rida and Macy Kate. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have an old-time country show with Aaron Tippin, Sammy Kershaw, Mark Chestnut, as well as lots of free acts during the week by the Gumper Building, and obviously the 4-H shows and animals and all that fun stuff. And then the other thing is, I want to say congratulations to our IT department. We received an award from the National Association of Counties Center for Digital Government. I was able to pick up our award. We were 9th in the nation for a population of 150,000 to 249,000 for our digital, basically our IT department and our website. So I have this to give to them as well. So congratulations. Good job, guys and gals.
Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Rice?
I beat you. I've said this before, but I just want to say, I want to make sure I say this publicly. I did vote no in terms of the race for Administrator Overton. I will say that my evaluation of him was, in essence, really no different than any other commissioners. He is doing an excellent job. He continues to improve, which is what we all can hope for, just improving. And this is nothing to do with him personally. Quite frankly, if you look at my record, I've done this before, whether it be Mr. Overton, elected officials, department heads, other boards I serve on. I just have a perspective, in this case, just like the rest of the times, that a 2% is there's reason I have that it's not, and it has nothing to do with Mr. Overton. It's just the fact that we have union contracts and things like that coming up. So again, it's nothing to do with him whatsoever, and I just want to make that clear. Also, to throw it out there, I will be working the beer tent at the fair, and regardless of how old you look, Brad Flory, I'll be checking your ID. So thank you.
Commissioner Duckham?
I'd just like to thank Mike Overton for the job he's done for the last 6 years. This is his 6th-year anniversary today. I think we're lucky to have Mike. I know he works hard. He's had to come up with some creative ideas over the years, and I think we're just lucky to have Mike, and I appreciate working with him.
Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Walls?
Yes, I'd like to let folks know that Grass Lake is hosting the Stock Outboard National Hydroplane races on Grass Lake this week. In fact, today was the first day of racing eliminations, and the event will be going on all week long through Saturday. So if you're interested in watching boats go over the water 60, 70 miles an hour, why, come on down, and it's something different.
Any other commissioner comments? Seeing none, entertain a motion to adjourn. Have motion and support. All in favor, please say aye. Those opposed?